I hear you're a fan of massacres, especially if they happen in
Mm,
Texas.
more a fan of massacres, but yes.
Well, I agree. I'll take a massacre over a massacre anytime, especially if it's some old Southern lady going, "It's about time for a massacre. Ain't
Oh my
nobody gonna
god!
tell me."
God damn it!
But the guitar is the voice, and apparently you play a guitar like this, like a fucking rifle.
I think so.
I think that's how you do it, guy. I don't know what the fuck that intro was, but this video is in fact about Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
We're rolling with it, all right.
The 1 millionth entry into the Texas
Yeah.
Chainsaw Massacre series that just came out, plainly called Texas Chainsaw Massacre, which only further makes it ambiguous to anyone that hasn't kept up with these by going, where does this go again? The answer is it goes after the first one, as in the original 1974 one. That's where this one goes. That's happened before, and I reckon it'll probably happen again because look, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, let's not fucking lie here, guy.
I think it might be
It might be the most rebooted,
again.
sequelized, and restarted fucking franchise of all time.
I think it is, guy.
Of course, if
Halloween
we're
was
not
up there for a while, but I think Texas
Halloween,
Chainsaw.
not it doesn't compare at all, guy.
Nah,
I don't
not
think it
anymore.
ever did come close to fucking Chainsaw. Chainsaw's just been rebooted so many fucking times, and there's so many fucking timelines.
17, I think.
7,000 maybe even. But this is a new one, so this is a new timeline. And look, there's a whole slew of people that are like, why make this?
I was one.
You were one.
I was kind of like, I don't have no interest in watching this.
Me, I've always been loyal to the series, even when it fucking sucks. And there's been some really low lows in this series, but I'll watch them because I love the idea.
Massacre fan.
I'm a Massacre fan, guy. I'll watch them, and if they're good, they're good. And I know some people are bothered by the fact that, oh, this is not in the original timeline, or oh, I gotta restart, or they abandoned the timeline that I like. I mean, at this point, really, you're holding on to a timeline. You either just go with it or you don't. And I go with it, guy. And sometimes I'm sad that they don't continue something, and sometimes I'm just like, whatever, guy, we're gonna get another one anyways. Might as well, So in a few fucking years, we'll probably get another one, unless this one does very well, which it did do well on Netflix, viewership wise.
I'm waiting for that Texas Chainsaw Massacre multiverse to come in.
Dude, when that hits, fucking, I hear Kevin Feige's already on it, guy.
Yeah.
And he doesn't even fucking know it. That's how intense that one's gonna be. The Leatherface clashing. They're just raining from the fucking.
There's too many fi.
It's gonna be Leather-Fi, guy, and it's in Wi-Fi or Lo-Fi if it's going back to the roots. But anyway, look, I'm gonna be straight up here. There is no fucking way that the original the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie will ever be replicated. No fucking way. Why? Because in a lot of ways, it was an accident. We know now, all these years later, and through fucking interviews and commentary and all that stuff, that Tobe Hooper, first of all, was mad high all the time. Second, was a straight up hippie trying to do hippie things. Third, the Chainsaw movie wasn't really. It was just kind of a way to make money quick that they thought would work. And four, Kim Henkel had as much to do with it as he did. And Kim Henkel also made a Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie on his own, and it's one of the worst. And that's The Next Generation, and it blows. So throw that into the fucking mix. Also, Tobe Hooper thought he was making a comedy at one point.
Classic.
So, you know what I'm saying? I feel that Texas Chainsaw Massacre is really like a fucking flash in the pan, maybe a fucking lightning in the bottle type of situation.
Ghostbusters-like.
Very Ghostbusters-like, because it is not even really a movie. It's more like this weird assortment of images and strangeness that just continues spiraling further and further into madness. It feels like a ride, like an experience, Nobody's inherently likable per se. I'm not saying that some of the characters are hateable, but some are. Franklin. But it's just like this weird experience, man. And it's so unique and strange that it chainsawed its way into history and our hearts.
I mean, chainsawing is also a carving, so.
That's a good point. Mini chainsaws, definitely carving. Maxi chainsaws,
carving
same
still,
thing.
yeah.
Big carving, if you will. But anyway, yeah, man, Chainsaw is an undisputed classic, but it just can't be replicated because the strange elements that came into, that had to come together for it to become what it was, you can't force that. That was just a matter of circumstance. You know what I'm saying? So it's never gonna be replicated. That feeling's never gonna be replicated. That idea, that vibe. Toby Hooper himself was like, nope, not gonna even try. And he made kind of like an anti-Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie with his original fucking sequel, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, which is a, blatant, balls out, bizarro black comedy. There's no other way to say it. It's weird, and humor is definitely in the mix. And it's not for everyone. A lot of people hate that movie still, even though its cult has significantly grown. But when it first came out, everybody hated it, And I feel that's also something I have to say in general for the series. Every single movie in this series has been hated, including the original when they came out. So, you have to take that into consideration. I don't think there's ever going to be a movie where a Texas Chainsaw movie where critics overwhelmingly, applaud it upon its release. It's just never happened, and it's probably never going to happen.
Yeah, so I think listening to critics especially, shitting on it is not a thing. I think for me, it was more just like, just too many freaking entries, man. Too many reboots. I just kind of lost interest. I didn't really particularly like the last one,
Mm-hmm.
So I was not really excited about this new one.
Yeah, and that's fully understandable, man. A lot of people get exhausted. A lot of people, as aforementioned, get annoyed at the fact that they have to discard anything they did like and then just
I think I've only liked like 3 of the movies, So
we'll talk about where we stand on each of the movies before we get to this new one. But I just wanted to put that out there. The first one is such a strange and unique circumstance in cinema, and even its own creator didn't want to duplicate it and its own creator went and did something completely fucking unprecedented and weird, possibly the weirdest entry in the entire Chainsaw series. So, and that's including the shitty Next Generation one, which is weird in all the wrong ways. So anyway, this new one is a direct sequel to the first one. We'll talk about the elements that get it there. But let's start with the first one, the original, the classic. I think this is one of the, even if you don't like it, you have to acknowledge it as a horror fan, as one of the most important films in horror cinema. So I think that's important to say. Just like I am not a Star Wars fan and hate it and want to punch it in the face, and I want to rip off George Lucas's Waddle.
Yeah, it's bad.
But I still got to acknowledge that Star Wars is a very important series, you know what I'm saying? So I don't have to like it to acknowledge it. But I do love the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Definitely top 5
for me.
We
have a full-length video of it.
I do. We do, I'm sorry. So yeah, obviously Texas Chainsaw. I love it. Thoughts?
Classic. That's
10
it.
out of 10
it's
for
classic.
me, guys.
It was one of those that when we revisited, because I had only seen it when I was a kid. When we revisited, I was actually kind of blown away by how weird and interesting it is.
It's so strange, man. It's just such a weird...
And it does have some actually really nice looking shots for how ugly it is,
That's what's so amazing about it, is that it captures a semblance of realism, but it never loses its cinematic elements. It's just such a unique blend, It's perfect. It's one of those perfect movies that stands on its own. Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2, as aforementioned, Part 2, Toby Hooper sequel to the original, was made a number of years later. Really, he probably would have never made it had it not been part of his deal with Canon, that he got to make 2 other movies that he actually wanted to make, Life Force and Invaders from Mars, both of which are awesome. But he did make it, and because he kind of was in that rock and a hard place, he made it exactly the way he wanted to make it, and it's kind of a big fuck you to what everyone expected, and that's kind of part of what's awesome about it. Also, another part that's awesome about it is
Dennis Hopper boy.
Dude, Dennis Hopper, who was, I should say, rest in peace, embarrassed of being in this movie and mad that he ever made it, but he's fucking awesome, guy.
He's a great guy.
He is a possibly weirder than the family, hell-bent on revenge Texas Ranger looking to hunt down the family and kill them. And this movie is rife with great effects. Just that same concept, I'm sorry, that same feeling of spiraling into weirder and weirder madness, only with these almost overtures of comedy. Yeah, and it's just something that if you love, you're gonna love it. And if you hate it, you're gonna fucking hate it. And there's almost no middle ground. I happen to love it. I know you love it. It's one of your favorite sequels in horror. And so great accolades go to that one for us too. Now we get into the fucking hairy territory because
I think it's one where we disagree. I've only seen this movie once.
You've only seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3,
stanky,
aka Leatherface. Look, this is a straight crap movie, but it does have elements that are interesting. To anybody that's a Chainsaw fan, obviously they got to see it. Is this a good movie? No.
It does have a great promo though.
It has the best teaser trailer ever that makes no fucking sense, and you want it to be that. And in case you're wondering what that is, maybe we could cut that in if.
Some tales are told, then soon forgotten. But a legend is forever. Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3.
It just doesn't make sense. Somehow they bind the Arthurian legend to fucking Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it's awesome. But it was a teaser promo that they made just because New Line got the rights to the Texas Chainsaw character of Leatherface, which is why the movie's called Leatherface, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, instead of the other way around. And it's really like a confusing sequel because it's kind of not a sequel, and yet it is a sequel. It acknowledges some things, but not everything, obviously. One, Leatherface is fucking alive when he was clearly dead in part 2. And, but it does have Stretch in it. But is she Stretch? It's just kind of like this weird thing that they clearly made at the height of slasher cinema. So it feels completely out of place with the other two movies, which themselves feel out of place with each other, but they still kind of...
That's the thing. Like, again, I only saw this when I was a kid, but that's the thing that stuck with me even as a kid, being like, this doesn't feel like it belongs in the series like, at all.
I think one of the pros to it is that it is kind of like a brutal movie for its time. Well, you have to watch the uncut version. They did release a theatrical version, which, why watch that? But it is pretty brutal. Ken Foray's in it, and he's awesome. And then he dies, and you're like, why did he die? He's the coolest thing. And that's actually what test audiences said.
Come on.
And they actually have him come back at the end of the movie, and it's totally inexplicable. Like,
Come on,
you saw that dude die, and then all of a sudden he's back. So that sucks, but at the same time, you're like, well, at least he's not dead, right? But one of the worst things about Leatherface, Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3, is the little girl in the family. Holy shit, she's fucking bad. I swear to God, if they just remove that little girl and replace her with anybody else, I don't care who, fucking Leprechaun himself, Warwick Davis as a child, a woman child, no less, it would have been better.
Also known as a girl.
Also known as a girl. Just pointing that out there. He would have been better than this little girl. One, because he can act. And two, this girl is literal fucking dead weight, man. She's terrible. She's so bad that she drains every fucking scene out of anything. There's just too many weird elements thrown into this that don't make sense. They don't vibe with the other movies, either one of them. But it is a movie that I don't feel is a complete waste of time. But do I hold it anywhere above like 4 points on the scale of 1 to 10? No, not at all. It's bad. But it is way better than what came next.
Shit.
The Next Generation, the sequel that was written and directed by Kim Henkel, one of the writers of the original, and proving that maybe Tobe Hooper was the least insane of them, because this movie fucking blows.
It is kind of classic in its blowing nature. There's choices like Illuminati's and just ass juice, I think, is the biggest choice that they made for this movie. I think the ethos of this movie is ass juice.
I believe so, man. I believe the script just said ass, and then the last page is juice.
Yeah.
Because that's what we're getting out of this thing, man. Imagine if you had a teen slasher movie from the 90s, and then you stuck the family in, but instead of making that flow into one another, you just kind of go, let's make these as incongruous to each other as possible, but then smash them together anyway, and then have that just bore you to death. The only good thing I dare say about The Next Generation is Matthew McConaughey's performance, which is fucking insane. Yes, that's right, Matthew McConaughey's in it as the head of the family, which, by the way, is also inexplicable. Like, how did this guy become the head of the family? That's another thing in part 3, by the way. Who are these people? You just assume it's extended family, I guess. Here, I guess that too. And why is Leatherface acting this way? He's like mad feminine in this, which I think is an interesting way to go, but the movie just sucks. Any ideas they may have had, any intents they may have had with the Next Generation, go out the window because the movie itself fucking stinks. I give it a fucking 0. It's garbage. 0. Thoughts?
Classic. Yeah,
classic?
Well, no, it's classic for the wrong reasons. I think it is an amusing movie. Though a very annoying movie.
Super annoying guy.
It's amusing because you're like, why does this exist?
It's also one of those director's cuts. One of those movies that has a director's cut where you avoid the director's cut.
Yes.
It's not better, and it just adds more of the garbage that you don't want. Yeah. Totally shitty. Shitty writing, shitty characters, the whole 9 yards. It's a waste of time. So, of course, eventually they had to reboot it, and surprisingly, even though back then everybody hated it critically and a lot of horror fans hated it, because that's what horror fans do. They'll shit on anything that comes out. Hate to say it. But a lot of people hated this. And that was the remake of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre from New Line itself again. But this time, the Michael Bay element wasn't played. Like, he was producing it. Marcus and Spell was directing it. So already people were like, no, I'm going to hate this. And I get that. Michael Bay sucks. But really, aside from the cinematography, I guess, kind of being like, you could be Bay-esque. Oh, wait a minute! The same cinematographer from part 1 did the cinematography for the remake. And it looks completely different because that's what talented cinematographers do. They texture a film to feel a certain way. And I think that this movie, the remake, has a particular feeling of its own. It creates an aura around the family that's distinctly its own and yet doesn't deviate so far from what needs to be the structure of the Chainsaw family. Leatherface feels completely different and yet is Leatherface. He's like a big hulking guy with a chainsaw and a fucking mask, and he's possibly, not all there on another level. But they add so many interesting elements, like Arlie Ermy as the sheriff that's in cahoots.
That's the only thing. I'll be honest, I only saw this when it came out. We literally saw it in the theaters. So what, it's been 20 years. Disturbing to think, by the way. And that's the only thing I remember from his Arlie. Yeah, great.
He's fucking fantastic in it, and he's even better in the prequel that followed it. But we'll get to that. This is one of the good remakes, man. It's distinctly its own thing. It doesn't violate the standards of what Chainsaw is about, but it does go to set its own stamp, and visually and otherwise, it feels more like a crime movie mixed with a horror movie, obviously. And it has its own, horror set pieces that stand out. It's just a good remake, And I thought so I love that one. And you said that you kind of vaguely remember.
I don't remember it.
There was a prequel to that called The Beginning, and that one is one that also has a director's cut. That's the version you got to see, because if you thought the theatrical cut was brutal and nihilistic, and it is. Because it's literally a movie you go in knowing that nobody's going to win. And that, by the way, put a pin in that. Texas Chainsaw movies have, especially going back to the first one, have this theme of a persistent brutality that cannot be defeated. And that's a movie that has that in spades. This one, The Beginning. It is a movie that gives you the origins of Leatherface in this remake series. And boy, howdy, does it not let up. And it's bleak, and it's almost disturbingly violent. It's just good, and it fleshes out the family characters, Arlie Ermy's character, Old Monty, and all these, the town, all that stuff. It's a great fucking movie. I love it. It meets a high standard for me. Thoughts? If you remember,
it's the only other one that I think what I would consider as a liking one. Before, in the dark times, I would say. I only really liked 3 movies, and that was one of them. And it was very, very, very gruesome, I remember.
Yeah, it is pretty fucking brute, as they say.
I think brute.
All that is.
Brute force.
And then, instead of continuing that series, I don't know what happened there. I could do some research, but won't.
Nah, homie.
The rights lapsed, and somebody else got a hold of them. Excuse me. And those other people ended up making Texas Chainsaw 3D I believe it was Lionsgate that got the rights. And Texas Chainsaw 3D is a sequel to the first movie. So now we're again rebooting everything, and it's a sequel to the first movie, and it ignores 2, 3, 4, everything remix, obviously. And does it matter? No, because it's goddamn stupid. It's first of all, it's got a 3D gimmick. Already, you're like, they didn't even give a shit about quality. They're going for gimmickry here. And second, if you thought that Next Generation was the teen slasher trope mixed together with Chainsaw, this is that, only dumbed down to 1,000,000. Timelines make no fucking sense in a way that's almost impossible to ignore. Sometimes a timeline thing is an issue with people. I say most times maybe with Texas Chainsaw movies, but here's like, what is this? This makes fucking no sense. Characters come and go that you're like, huh? There's literally a villainous character that's in cahoots, if you will, with the sheriff, which in this movie the sheriff is kind of the bad guy, and he just vanishes, and you're like, what happened to that guy? What happened to that guy? Why? He was like pivotal to this fucking thing. He didn't get nothing. He just walks away. Never see him. Just shit like that. And then the Leatherface, I'm not trying to hate on the actor, but his body language sucked. Everything sucked in this, man. It had a promising opening that happened right after the events of part 1. And that was it, guy. It was downstairs from there. Fucking 50 thumbs down. This is one of the worst Chainsaw things that has ever happened. And thankfully they abandoned going forward from that point in time. But technically, the next movie that came out that was Chainsaw related, called Leatherface, straight up just Leatherface, was a prequel to part 1 and is technically still in the same timeline as 3D. So it's Leatherface part 1, or the original part 1, and then 3D, technically. Leatherface is one that we saw theatrically. You say you didn't.
Well, we saw it to streaming because it was on streaming only.
You sure? I saw it theatrically, guy.
No, it was on streaming only.
Nah, homie.
It was literally on Dish only.
Nah, homie.
For one day. I didn't see it theatrically.
I did.
Well, I doubt it.
I got the ticket. Well, anyway, whatever the point is, we saw it.
If you saw it theatrically, then it was a limited release.
We saw, man, that feet.
Yeah, that's bad.
We saw it.
Leather feet, they call me.
What's your stance on that? You ever already kind of
Yeah, I was whatevs about it at the time. I think it's kind of like I'm still whatevs about it. I find it kind of unbelievable what happens, and it just wasn't very interesting to me.
A lot of people kind of just, again, like most of the sequels, they were like not very supportive of this thing going in. There was some backstage hullabaloo, behind the scenes hullabaloo that further complicated things, like the directors didn't technically get their director's cut, stuff like that. I think, honestly, this movie deserves a lot more credit than it gets, in my opinion. It's an interesting blend. First of all, it's leagues better than 3D.
I didn't see 3D.
It doesn't even be... Yeah, that's why I didn't even ask that. But I guarantee you would hate it. And then this is not even like this movie, like where, there's area for confusion. No, you'd hate fucking 3D, guy. Well, yeah, Leatherface, I think, is a movie that deserves a lot more credit than it gets. It does blend elements that are pretty cool. Like, what's his fucking stupid name, man? The guy that plays a bad guy in Blade 1.
Gornak?
Yeah, Gornak, I think his name is.
I don't know.
What's his name? Anyway, the guy that plays bad guy in fucking Blade 1 is kind of like this sheriff that, is kind of like this timeline substitute for fucking Lefty Enright, only not in the ridiculous sense, like the over the top campy version of him or something. More just like a fucking asshole. And this is more of a road movie than is a Texas Chainsaw movie. So I really like that they actually threw something different into the mix. It's a road movie where the villains are really anybody but who you'd expect, and the family's just kind of a background character until things come full circle. And it is a movie that you'll find it either hard or you just ride with it to accept what it's setting up, and that's the idea that Leatherface isn't exactly what we perceived him as, which is to say a straight up, a special person, shall we say, that's being manipulated by the family. He is being manipulated by the family, but he's not mentally as incapacitated as we perceive. So you either accept that or not. But there's a lot of different elements in the movie. There is one scene that I cannot accept, and that's where they're trying to get away from they're being chased by the cops basically, and they hide somehow 3 of them under a fucking carcass and of a cow.
Yep.
And I have no idea how and just one person would hide under there, especially considering one of them was a hulking fatoid.
Brute.
So that was super incredulous. But I actually really like the movie. I really like Lily Tomlin in it. Is that her name? Yeah, Lily Tomlin. No, wait. Lily Taylor. No. Which one's the comedian girl? I'm going to go with Lily something as the head of the family. She's super cool in that. You know, I wish there was more with her. But it's a movie that I really actually enjoy. And I think people should give another shot to if they've seen it or if they haven't seen it. Give it a consideration. Not that it's going anywhere because that timeline is out the window, and thus came fucking the Netflix one, which is already out the gate. Was like people were mad hating, throwing gunk and dust at it.
Gunk?
Sure, gunk, goo,
Mm-hmm.
filth, if you will. Yeah. So it was mad hated out the gate, and you know. I was talking to our former co-host, and he was like, I don't know about seeing it. It's getting a lot of hate. I was like, dude, that's the status quo for chainsaw movies.
Yeah, also, he liked 3D, so.
He did like 3D, man. How can I trust him if he likes 3D? Like what you will, but 3D sucks. But anyway, the point is...
but not 3D.
People were mad hating on this thing, and, you know, that's part of the course. So I didn't pay any attention to that, but I did want to see it. And you, as aforementioned, were burned out, I guess.
I was like, you got to see it first to see if it's good.
Yeah, yeah. Now I love Chainsaw so much that actually bummed me out. I was like, God damn it! I wanted to see this with my boy.
Yeah.
My boy just let me in the fucking dust.
In the dust like a freaking chainsaw guy.
And I'll be honest, for a week I was just kind of like, I don't want to see it now. You know,
in the corner,
kicking little dust in the corner. Yeah. But then I was like, I gotta see it. You know, if it sucks, it sucks. It's not like I haven't been there before. You know what I'm saying? But if it doesn't, what's that? Now, there was a lot of promising things here. Fede Alvarez was producing, and he did do the story. He didn't write the script. Did he co-write at least? No, but he did do the story. He co-wrote.
He always does.
So story by and co-written by Fede Alvarez, who did the fantastic Evil Dead remake. And, you know, Don't Breathe and stuff like that. He's a fucking voice,
he did
man.
The Gornak movie, too.
Gornak, his best one, I think.
Really good movie.
Yeah. Love it.
Look for it.
Anyway, look for it thoroughly. It's out there, I swear. But yeah, Fede Alvarez is kind of like a voice in horror, and so that was promising. What wasn't promising is that the original people they hired quit 1 week into directing it. And they were directing this in Bulgaria, which, of course, you know that slew of horror fans is going to be, this is not even in Texas.
Come on,
dude, I'm from Texas. I don't give a shit.
Give a shit about Texas.
Yeah, like, come on. Just fucking film the thing. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. We can
as
move on.
long as there's a massacre in there.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing that's needed in a Texas Chainsaw movie. A massacre.
A massacre. And arguably, this is the only one that has an actual massacre.
That's a good point.
That's a good point, right? But anyway, fucking... so there was that. The original directors did quit. And they brought in this other cat whose name fucking escapes me right now. And researching. But he is a Texan guy. He's what's his name? David Blue Garcia is his name. He's a Texan guy. His previous movie was called Tejano. So I think that's pretty good, right? They filmed in Bulgaria, which I gotta say, looks like Texas. Wouldn't you know that? Different places in the world look like other places.
Like old Texas.
Not even more. You know, we live kind of like in the sticks from outside of a city. But the further you go into Texas, this fucking movie looked like that. So that's cool. So let's get into it, man. You already know that every fucking schmo is tearing this boy down. I'm interested to see where you're at. I'm gonna tell you right now, I actually really enjoyed this movie. It's not perfect. Don't get me wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But I don't think any Chainsaw sequel has been perfect. But I do think that this movie brings a lot to the table. I do think it has some super interesting fucking stuff in it. It has some awesome stuff in it. And sometimes that's kind of what's cool about a horror movie, you know. And it had a different approach to certain things and yet stayed pretty fucking loyal to what Chainsaw's supposed to be about. So yeah, I really fucking enjoyed the hell out of it, man. Thoughts?
I kind of liked it, guy!
I told you.
I'm not even gonna lie, I kind of loved it.
It's pretty
I
great.
was like, oh shit, this is pretty rad.
It's pretty great, man. I know some people are saying this violates what Chainsaw stands about. Look, guy, Toby Hooper himself went against the grain what Chainsaw stood for. But I think this movie is actually pretty loyal to what Chainsaw's about, and it moves a step forward. Now, let's get this fucking elephant out of the room.
Me?
We both have to leave, really.
Homie.
But no, let's get the elephant out of the room. The elephant is that, yes, there is an element of the Halloween 2018 reboot in this, you know, with Laurie coming back to defeat her demons. Except that in this movie, though that is in there, they do not make it the focal thing in the movie. They actually hold it back to the ass end. And even then, when it comes into play, it's not what's important. They use it really to underline what I said before, that pin that I told you to put it in, kind of like the persistent, wild brutality, uncontrollable brutality that is Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
And I'm not even gonna lie, if they had gone that way, it would have been cool.
Yeah, it would have been cool, yeah.
Because she's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, I would have loved to see more of this. Unfortunately, the original Sally Hardesty has passed. But, you know, the person they got, yeah, she's cool, man. It was awesome. The idea of Sally being so affected, traumatized by what happened to her, that she doubled down and became a ranger just to wait for her moment.
Lefty,
yeah,
basically.
That's fucking cool. That's Chainsaw-y, man.
There's even a moment where she goes full insane, is like laughing at him and shit. It's pretty cool.
Fucking slap a little Dennis Hopper on her, you know what I'm saying? I like that, man. She was really cool. And visually, she's just cool. She comes off as... you know, something that jibes with this franchise. So the story is basically all these years have passed. What, like 50 now, or whatever the fuck. Now,
40, I believe, right?
Whatever it is.
It doesn't matter.
Long
ass time.
Yeah. So look, that's one elephant in the room. Yes, they do touch on that, but they do it in a way that, you know, kind of distinguishes it from that other thing. And two, another elephant in the room is, you know, people are kind of like, especially some reviews that I've seen and read, they seem to be confused about what happened in between. And all I gotta say is
super easy to get.
Is there a problem now with reading like subtext? This is not a complex movie. You know what I'm saying?
In fact, some might say it's too simple.
Yeah, it's pretty much to the bones simple.
It literally sets up something, lets go of it completely, and is just a guy chasing a chick, which I could see people complaining about.
But isn't that what the original was?
The original is, yes.
So
it basically puts that as a thing, as a setup, and has something to say, and then lets go of it completely.
Yeah, exactly.
Until the end, where there's a little more.
As far as the passage of time, look, yes, fucking Leatherface would be in his 70s approximately, and you know, so would Michael Myers. So why are we making an exception for one for the? I saw an interview. I saw a review from Swell Entertainment, where she made a big point about why is he this strong and why is he suddenly Michael Myers? Why didn't we bring that up with Michael Myers? He wasn't throwing people around in the first one and being a hulking maniac.
Leatherface kind of was.
Leatherface, you know, he's got that special person strength. I think that was assumed. But really, you know, again, we're making a sequel. Things can change and all that stuff. And anyway, and then I saw another review where they're like, you know, why was he a kid in this orphanage? It literally says it literally says the year on the fucking picture of the orphanage. It happened. This woman in the orphanage took him in after the events of part 1, and you know, he's been inactive. I'm sorry, for all that time. And some people are like, why would he stay so silent for all that time? Oh God, man,
they say it perfectly.
Look, one of the things about the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre that you understand without any dialogue from Leatherface at all is that he is basically being forced to do what he does. And yes, he does hideous, horrible, horrendous things.
But he's freaking Reed.
He's a victim of his environment, and he does as is told. His brothers are forcing him to do things. And it's pretty well established in this movie that the reason he's been inactive is because this woman showed him tenderness and care, and he stayed out of it. And that's kind of what makes fucking Leatherface awesome in this. Finally, he has a purpose to do the things that he does. Whereas before he was being forced to do it by his brothers in the Toby Hooper movies, here he's doing it out of vengeance. And he even wears the mask. Just like he does in the original movies, he wears a mask per the occasion. Here it's a vengeance mask. and he's using the avatar of the person that took care of him to do it.
At one point, he ignores a person that wasn't involved in the thing.
Yes.
You know,
yes.
there's a reason for why
there's a purpose to it. I love that, man. I thought that was so fucking cool and so in line with the ideas and a way also to evolve what's been going on with Leatherface. I thought that was fucking awesome. Now let's talk about the actor that played Leatherface. You got to get a big hulking guy, right? This is a big motherfucker, dude.
He's a pretty cool guy.
It might be the biggest guy to play fucking Leatherface, maybe.
Yeah.
Height-wise, anyway. Definitely not fatty-wise.
No, I think
Gunnar
Gunnar was pretty fat.
But he's pretty cool looking.
He's pretty cool. I like the mask. It does look a little bit like, what's his name, Howard or Horace or whatever from the
Scary Stories.
The drawing itself, but it looks cool in action.
A lot of people are shitting on the mask. I'll point out something that Swell Entertainment brought up in her review, where she was like, he puts the mask on and that's not gonna stay. But first of all, when he first makes the mask, we don't see what he's doing. We just see him cutting the mask and then he drags the body away. We later see the body of the woman propped up, as they did in the first one. You know, they kind of made these altars and stuff, propped up as an honorific, basically. And when he steps up, before he hits into town, he steps up in the sunflower field where he did all this. If you look at his face, you could see that it's tied to his head. You know, you could see the pulls in the mask. So clearly he did something there. I guess it's something that they felt that they didn't need to show. It would have probably been good because
It's
apparently
also,
people are tripping on
I'm
that.
sorry, but it's a freaking nitpick. Who gives a rat's ass, guy?
Yeah, really, at that point, yeah.
It's a horror flick.
What do you think of this? A lot of people really hate the mask.
I like it.
I love it.
I kind of didn't like it when they first revealed it in the pictures. I thought it looked too much like the Scary Stories guy. And even in the trailer, I wasn't sold on it, but it looks cool in the movie.
Yeah, I think it's possibly my like second or third favorite mask. I think it's cool, and I think it's really cool given what it represents.
I do question one part in the movie. And, his chainsaw is in a wall. That was weird.
Well, she told him not to go into his bedroom, insinuating that she had hidden all the accoutrements of his past.
True, it is mentioned, but it does kind of come off as like, why would you keep the chainsaw?
That's another thing. Like, if you're gonna nitpick about that stuff, you could ask, well, why would because chainsaws technically have like a specialized blend of gas and something else. Why would that still be? Hadn't it been all that time passed? But he's doing a lot of stuff out of sight. You just hear him do things. So I mean, if you're really gonna go,
yeah, like really, that was kind of my nitpick. Is like, why would they keep the chainsaw all this time? Especially if she's showing him love and all this stuff. Why would you keep that there? And why does he know about it? I think that's kind of a sensical nitpick, if anything. But at the same time, how are you going to bring in the chainsaw?
I think the implication was that this breed of people, in this case Texan Southerners,
they do also kind of set that idea up.
They're always at the ready for something.
Yeah, and there's like a sentimentality to the past. Too.
Exactly, and then there's a scene with a Confederate flag that kind of touches on that, and it's a complex type of stance that I don't think a lot of people understand. I'm not defending having a Confederate flag, but I have met people that are completely not fucking racist, not even fucking right wing, and they have that as a sentimental bridge with their past, and it's complex, and I can't hate them for it. I don't like the flag, what it stands for, but to them it does mean something else. You can't paint things in black and white, and here is the thing that I love most about this movie, is that this is probably the movie with most intent behind what it's doing. It's still a brutal slasher, slice them up.
I think all that stuff, before we go into it, all that stuff is kind of front loaded. It's all set up in the beginning.
Yes.
It kind of gets it out of the way, knows that some people are going to not like it.
Oh, yeah.
And then just lets go of it, and it's just a freaking brutal romp afterwards.
Exactly, man. This is by far the Texas Chainsaw movie that has most intent. You can't say that about the first one, other than there was this thing that just happened miraculously. Part 2 has a lot of jabs at yuppie culture and all that stuff, but it's still this mostly comedic romp, and the other ones, well, lesser and lesser, they're just straight up stories, or they just suck, or whatever the fuck, right? This one actually has subtext, and some people, like you say, they're gonna hate that. And especially the way this movie does it. Because this movie is aggressively rubbing salt in the wound of people that it think in extremes. Yeah. Whether that be left or that be right. And this movie celebrates moderation. The only characters that off the cuff are likable are the sister of the main character, which is a survivor of a school shooting, which is a pretty cool thing that they tied in there with the Sally Hardesty trauma that she suffered. They kind of made parallels with that. I thought that was awesome. She's off the cuff likable because she's not about all this extreme lefty weirdness. No. And then there's this Texan guy that's the contractor that's helping them, these people fix up this town that they're all moving into to fucking change and turn into their own thing, you know, gentrify, if you will. He is likable because though he exhibits qualities that a lot of people in the extreme left would see as extreme right, he's just a guy. Yeah. He's just a guy that happens to live in Texas, and because of Texas and the culture, he has certain things like guns. Doesn't mean he goes out shooting fucking people and all that. He's just a fucking guy. And these two seem...
And he's the guy that they kind of also paint as like, this guy's going to be the hero, the guy that you're going to be... And then they throw that away too.
Yeah. And then it's interesting because these people seem to be not only most likable, but here's the kicker. The most sympathetic character in this movie is Leatherface. And he's a brutal ass killer. So this movie's really fucking rubbing salt in the wound, man. Leatherface actually has a reason. He's been wronged in this. He's a childlike guy, really, in mind. We all understand. And they took his mom away, and they took everything that he cared for, his safe environment. So he goes back to his roots and does what he does because now there's a reason. But because of that, he ends up actually being a villain that you could cheer for and not feel like a total scumbag if you have, you know, some form of conscience right there. I thought that was fucking rad, man. That was a great approach to that. And I also like that the main character, she starts horribly unlikable. Yeah. She even looks horribly unlikable. Yeah. The hairdo.
She looks like the freaking singer from Greta Van Fleet.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she looks horribly unlikable. This is no hate on the actress. She did a good job of portraying this particular character. And she's very beautiful and all that stuff. But she just looks annoying, and she acts annoying.
The way she carries herself.
Yeah, but she has a character arc, and she actually grows by the end.
I actually really liked her.
Yeah, I was like, really man, cool. That's cool, man. I really like that. Yeah. Now, what else, guy? I already fucking like blew that stuff. Anything you want to add, blow like, or against?
I think Gruce is pretty on fleek. Gruesome scale.
It's pretty gory.
It's pretty gory. I will say that there is some CG enhancements on some of the Gruce, and sometimes it's a little wonky. I'm thinking specifically the first hit on the guy on the floor. You know what I'm talking about, on the head. It looked really CG. But then the preceding ones looked really good, so it's kind of a mixed bag, but it all looks really cool. So you don't really mind it. It's just stuff you'll notice it, and I'm sure someone out there is going to be like, it has CGI! Ah!
It's kind of like a combination too. Like there's a character that gets his jaw sliced open basically, and when you first see it, you could see the CG enhancements on it. But then afterwards, it's a physical effect. Yeah. But I will say that the going from one to the other, it's not super jarring, which is that would be kind of like,
it's actually they kind of like CG enhance a lot of the blood, and sometimes that looks really bad, but it actually looks pretty good. You notice it, but it's decent looking.
Yeah. And also sometimes when something's just cool, you don't give a shit. Yeah. And in terms of brutality, this movie, it's not as brutal as the beginning. I don't think any of them will be that way. And it's not as psychologically brutal as the first one, which is more like implied brutality. But it is pretty fucking gruesome. So I guess it would be probably the third most gruesome in the series. Violence, it's got some pretty cool effect kills,
Yeah, they use CGI to finally show a chainsaw cutting into someone in half. I will say, minor critique, nitpick. I do kind of feel like Leatherface is a bit too strong in this. Like, he takes 60,000 freaking shotgun shells to the face. Again, it is a thematic thing of this kind of unending, you can't do anything about it type of thing. But man, that homie takes like 17,000 shotgun shells and a chainsaw uppercut to the face and a drowning, and yet he still comes back. And I mean, he's human, guy. So it feels a little bit weird.
I would say
but it's also a cool ending. So
I would say that that's the most they took from 2018 Halloween. That, a persistent almost unstoppableness to fucking Leatherface. And for me, and I'm sure for you too, I just thought it was cool. You know what I'm saying? He's just cooler now. But that boy does be taking bullets. You know what I'm saying?
Maybe too many. Maybe cut a couple of them. Yeah. But it was cool, so whatever.
Yeah, man. I really liked all that stuff. I thought the characters were well done. I think, despite I said that the movie really rubbing salt in the wound, like you say, it sets all that up with purpose, and then just keeps the elements that'll ring true later. And what rings true later is, especially the main character's sister, with her trauma paralleling Sally's trauma. So when Sally Hardesty does come in the movie, it's mega spoilers if you haven't seen the movie yet, she gets killed almost immediately. And I thought that was the way to go, to be honest with you. I know there's people that are fucked up about that, but really, Sally is not Laurie. You know what I'm saying? Sally's never been established as a Laurie-like character, ever. You know? So that they come in and lead you this way, and she does do cool stuff, don't get me wrong. They give her enough time to shine and you know, show that she's become this other person in the meantime.
But it's more about what he did to her over the amount of time, just because she couldn't let go, basically.
Yeah, basically, what we end up learning here is that Sally, much like anybody else that's ever encountered the family in Leatherface, does not matter. And that Leatherface is almost like emblematic of something that you cannot ever make go away. So while in this movie we have extremes of the left and the right, what remains at the end, just like in the first movie, is Leatherface. And he's just this thing, this dirty fucking thing that no matter where you stand, he's gonna be there. You know, and I thought that was cool, man. That's exactly what the first one implied, but this one again doesn't imply it. It kind of like just says it and just grinds it into you.
Yeah, it's a very not subtle movie.
It's not subtle
at all,
but it's kind of like it's a movie called Texas Chainsaw Massacre, and it lives up to that. Massacre. Yes, and as aforementioned, this is the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie where we actually see a full out massacre. You know, I mean, we can of course assume that massacres have occurred in the other ones. There's body parts everywhere. People are being eaten. I feel that once you massacre enough people, you gotta chow down.
Yeah, you gotta chow down.
But one,
you're gonna get tired. You're gonna get hungry.
Exactly. This one, he doesn't even chow, guy. No. He's just mad fucking killing. And again, that has to do with where the character is at more than anything. Love that. I think this movie, by the way, looks fucking cool. Sometimes there's some shots in it that are just. They're wallpaper worthy for me, you know, like when the bus is riding out of town, when they think they're going to get away right before he slaughters all of them. And he's just waiting in the, I thought that was a cool shot. Him standing up in the sunflower field. There's just these large
And I got to say,
shots.
it doesn't like indulge in them to the point where you're like, all right, they thought that was cool. It's just cool looking. And then they move on.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a cool move too.
Absolutely, man.
It's kind of like we had this badass move, but we're not keeping it on for too long. It's like it's a power move, if anything.
Really, yeah. And they could have done that.
They could have, and it would have been cool.
Yeah, given that the movie actually has kind of like thematic elements, you know, and it's trying to say something, they could have gone that way, but they just speckled those in just the right way and still said this is still about this weird, maddening spiral, you know? Look, as we aforementioned, the fucking movie, I mean, Leatherface takes damage like crazy up in this bitch. He might as well be in Mortal Kombat and just point. Oh, wait, he straight up uses Mortal Kombat moves in this movie, chucking his chainsaw and shit, which is pretty awesome, by the way. But it does end very much in the vein of the original, which I thought was awesome. And
cool, and I knew it was gonna happen because I had seen the pictures, and I was still like, "Oh shit, what the hell?"
It's just cool, man. I really don't see what all the hubbub is with some people hating this. I know horror fans in general are very against something being stirred up again or something being remade or refreshed, and I can't blame them in a series that's been rebooted a million times.
If anything, I'll say give it a chance because this is one of the quickest viewings I've had of a movie of all time. The same day we saw Jackass, and that felt like Godfather 3 compared in length. Like this was so fast.
Yeah, really.
Like it feels like 30 minutes long somehow. It's like, wow, that went by so quickly.
And it's all enjoyable.
Yeah,
and sometimes you just need a fucking hoot and a holler. And I love that this one look, I'm the first one to tell you that I really love long, pensive, artsy horror. I love it. That there's a renaissance of that is one of my fucking favorite things. But I'm also a fan of mad romps. And this is a mad romp with with dashes of purpose, which are fucking badass for me, man. So I really love that, man. Anything else you want to add before we get to the final score on this one? I pick it.
There is an armadillo, so it's got the armadillo quotient.
Gotta get the armadillo in there.
There's Massacre, so that's pretty... Oh, I kind of like the little synth track at the end too. It was pretty cool.
That's a good theme.
I was like, oh, that's a cool theme.
End theme, I guess. Yeah, that.
I didn't expect
great theme,
Leatherface to have a cool synth track, but it happened.
I hear he gets down, guys.
He's like,
that goy
hunter.
That boy goes to the club on weekends. You didn't know?
True.
Now you know. Anything else, guys?
No.
Right there? No. All right. So let's talk scores on a scale of 1 to 10. Look, man, this was a blast, guy. It's just a mad ass romp. Great effects. Cool ass way to kind of push this timeline forward. Again, there's stuff that you do have to kind of overlook. I mean, the idea of a 70-year-old hulking maniac. I will grant him that he was doing old man walk even from before he got hurt. And Sally, I mean, she's fucking an oldster and she's moving around. So they're working in the realm of, you suspend your disbelief as far as that. But some people can't. And I mean, well, that sucks.
He's also Reed, so...
Yeah, he's got the Reed strength,
Yeah.
So anyway, the point is...
Plus, imagine how shitty a freaking Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie would be if he walks around like a 7-year-old.
With a walker.
He's like, ah.
Yeah.
Dude, a walker with chainsaw blades on each thing.
Oh my God, that needs to happen right now. That's how he transports himself. Look, man, I loved everything about this. It was cool, man. It had a freshness to it, and yet it remained... loyal at its core to all the essentials of Chainsaw. It actually felt like a sequel with a purpose that was truer to the original than the original sequel. I'm not saying it's better than that. That's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that if you want, like the people that wanted a Chainsaw sequel in the 80s and they got Texas Chainsaw Part 2 and they were like, what the fuck's going on? Well, this would have been more akin to what their minds wanted, their spirits wanted. But I like this quite a fucking bit, man. So I gotta give it, again, in terms of its compatriots, in terms of its genre. This is not comparing it to a fucking Chinatown here. And I don't mean the actual place in town that's Chinatown. That just sucks and gets a 0.
It's not good.
I mean, the classic film.
Too many boiled geese.
Dude, there's so many boiled geese.
It smells like geese in here, guy.
We brought the geese over?
Yeah, we did.
I gotta give this a straight fucking 9, dude. It was just a blast. I know it really, realistically, it doesn't deserve that 9. It's more like a 8. But it's so fun.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm gonna give it a 10, guy. It was pretty damn fun. It went quicker than my ass, and my ass goes quick. Is all
Your
I got
ass
to say.
fucking flushes out turds like
I
crazy.
thoroughly enjoyed it. There's some minor nitpicks, but minor nitpicks don't ruin a movie unless you're Al with Batman.
Dude, Al, you better not have that fucking Batman nitpick ruin it, guy.
Yeah.
We haven't even seen it, and we know that nitpick's bullshit, guy.
Yep.
Anyway, give it a chance, man. If you didn't like it at first, give it a chance again. Open your mind, guy. Sometimes you just gotta open your mind, and even if you don't like it, then well, fuck it. At least you tried, right?
True.
But anyway, we enjoyed the shit out of it. It's a fucking shame that it's on Netflix, so we'll probably never see a physical copy that's official. I hate that. But also Netflix. Well, I guess you just had to make me download it, didn't you? God damn it! I didn't want to do that. I wanted to pay fucking money for it. I guess I paid for it to see it on the fucking thing. But now what? Now that I want to own it, I can't. But anyway, loved it. We're out.
So he's the reason. If there never is another one, you're the reason you download it instead of watching
me,
it.
just me.
Yeah.
All right, man. We're out. Tell us what you think about this. Yeah, bye.
This music, story times, all kinds of shit for you. Anything goes inside tonight, woke up with corpulent dudes. Movies, music, story times, all kinds of shit for you.